One of the most life-changing concepts I learned in my life from the book Reality Transurfing is about pendulums. Pendulums are basically like, think of a clock that has a literal pendulum in it, okay? If you push against the pendulum, it's still gonna come back. If you push it this way, it's still gonna come back. It just keeps going. So it really doesn't matter if you push against a pendulum or if you are for a pendulum. Either way, you are giving the pendulum energy. When you give a pendulum energy, it essentially owns you. So a good example of a pendulum would essentially be like a job. You have to go to the job. If you hate the job, it still gives it energy. If you love the job, it gives it energy. Pendulums aren't necessarily bad things. Most of us are caught up in pendulums. It's just the question is, well, it's not really a question. The thing about pendulums is that pendulums serve themselves. So you could have a pendulum that's like, a needy, like a volunteer organization that helps the needy. It's a pendulum, and you can be a part of that pendulum, but you're not serving yourself, okay? Now you can have if you're an influencer, your YouTube channel might become a pendulum. Some people hate you, that gives the pendulum energy. Some people love you, that gives it energy. You're gonna see this in politics. This is the media. The media is a huge pendulum. So being caught up in a pendulum, for the most part, is going to suck your free energy, okay? So we get free energy from the world, from the sun, from the earth, from the air, from other people, right? When you are caught in a pendulum, that pendulum sucks your energy. The bigger the pendulum, the more energy it sucks. So pushing against, that's kind of a law of attraction principle, right? When you push against something, you're still giving it energy. I remember one time I went to Six Flags and they had this thing called the Dragon's Wing. So it's to where you literally get on this harness and then this big cord is coming out your back, and the cord goes up. This crane, like super, super, super tall crane, pulls your cord up so that then you're looking down, all right? And Six Flags looks just like a dot on the map, basically, and you can see all the hills of Eureka around you. It's super tall. And then you have this little button, and you can hear, and they have I guess a little radio at the top of the crane, and it says, okay, you're free to fly, or something like that. And then that means that you're supposed to press the little remote, and then it lets you go. So it's kind of like bungee jumping, except you don't jump, you don't bounce back up because it's like a cable. And it's kind of like skydiving, except you're on a cable, and it works like a pendulum. So you press the button and then you swing down and you feel like you're falling straight down, but it catches you and you go like this, and it's like really close to the ground, so it's super scary. You look like you're gonna hit the concrete, but then it goes like this, and then you think it's done, except that it can't be done because it swings back, and then you feel like you're falling all over again until it kind of, does this. The second time is even scarier. But the point is, a pendulum, whether you push it this way or push it that way, so whether you're for it or against it, gives it energy, which is why a celebrity that has a lot of negative energy doesn't necessarily go away, which is why maybe your problems in your life, when you give them hate energy, they don't necessarily get better. And the idea of pendulums is that there are tactics within how to be inside of a pendulum. So maybe you have a job, you need to stay in this job. There are ways to sort of camouflage yourself from within the pendulum. If you push against the pendulum while you are in it, it will throw you out or kill you, okay? If you try to leave the pendulum, which you can do, like turning off the news, turning off that type of media, you can be outside of a pendulum, but pushing hate back on the pendulum pushing against is still giving it your energy. So then when you're depressed, when you're stressed, when you're having panic attacks, probably you are giving a lot of your energy to pendulums. So then when I read this book, I literally realized, oh my God, this is like one of the major foundations of my life and why I'm stressed TF out, why I'm not called to work one of these 9-to-5 jobs where I feel like I'm not following my true life's purpose and my dream reality, because I'm caught up in these pendulums. Religion can be a pendulum. It's not necessarily that it's bad, but it's not you-centered. I want to be me-centered. So when you get out of a pendulum, now you're here and you might feel a little bit lost. You might feel like, oh shit. But for now, I'm in this zone of awareness where I can say, oh wow, I started to notice way more pendulums in my life, and I started to notice other people caught up in their own pendulums. So that's why the law of attraction, or Abraham Hicks might say, don't think about the negative things. You know, was it Mother Teresa that said, I don't want to join your war against war, your rally against war, but I'll join your rally for peace, okay? I will go for something, but I'm not going to get caught up in the pendulum because I don't need my energy sucked. There's other ways that your free energy can get sucked. Very little of it is diet. Some of its energy work can increase that energy, but a big part of the book talks about pendulums sucking your free energy. And then when you're inside of a pendulum, you don't really get a choice about what you're doing in your life. When you have to listen to the boss, whether that boss is your actual physical boss, or whether that boss is, you know, the god of your religion, or whether that boss is what your candidate in your political sphere says, then you're going to be tossed to and fro. Maybe it's TikTok shop. I love TikTok shop. I'm not hating. But just becoming aware of the pendulums, if you can grasp it, is so freeing. The medical communities can be pendulums. And I'm not saying, like I said, this is just information. Not all pendulums are bad. But when you find that your energy is sucked, you might start to think about what pendulums you might have been a part of and it might still be on. Think of it like a ride. You're riding that pendulum. What pendulum might have gotten you to somewhere, but now you can move on. With no hate. When I left my religion back in, God, I don't know, 10 years ago, I wanted to look back and judge it and say, you guys judge people, you're bad. Wait, that's me judging them. So, pendulums from Reality Transurfing is going to be a huge life changer. It was for me.